Yo, still bills, what's the deal, man? Yo, I had to come up to the work there, you know what I'm saying, to the plantation to handle some shit real quick. It should be a quick day for me, man. Talking an hour and a half, hopefully, man. But peep game, though, man. I talked about it, but I ain't get to post it. I don't know why I deleted it or whatever, but we got to talk about Clarissa Shields, man. Man. She's an amazing boxer. She is, man. Was she undisputed in 2 weight divisions? I think she's undisputed in 2 weight classes. Really doing monumental shit, man. Is testing the waters in MMA and the octagon. That shit is to be saluted and, you know, held in high revere. She's an amazing talent. She really is, man. But it just gets to a point where delusion and your own hype just really, it can really become to your detriment. When we talk about Clarissa Shields and her saying, now first off, her saying she could beat Porter and Thurman and an aging Golovkin in the, like, that's just past ridiculous. And not to mention, she said once before in the past that she could beat Kovalev. She was calling out Sergey Kovalev. The same Kovalev that called her M in the ring. The same Kovalev. Now, the thing is this, man, we can't ignore biology, man. Men, just, our bodies are built for certain situations, you know what I'm saying? And just like women, their bodies are built for certain. Men's bodies are not built for having babies, you know what I'm saying? Harvesting life in our womb. That's not what we're built for. And I'm not saying that that's all they should be relegated to because their bodies are built in that way, but our bodies are built to be a lot more physical. You dig? The hunter-gatherer types. That's just our molecular frame. That's just how we're built. And that's not saying that every man is built for for warrior shit. No, I'm not saying that at all. However, no, I'm not, like, mentally, they're not inadvertently warrior, you know, a part of a warrior class because they're, you know, their biology, their genetic makeup says that. Nah, there's plenty bitch ass niggas out here that women can beat, you know, would beat the fuck up with the genetic makeup that they have. But just speaking from a biological standpoint, our muscles, you dig, it's a like, you look at the strongest woman in the world can probably barely lift with a nigga who just goes to the gym for recreational activity to stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason for that. It's a reason for that. The fastest women, they're not necessarily, they don't reach the speeds of the Usain Bolts. They just don't. They don't. Fucking I would like to see NBA, like the WNBA, have some sort of a clash with the NBA. Take women out of the WNBA and put them in, you know what I'm saying, back, you know, play with the brothers, well, with the dudes, like guards. Women who can, you know, where their, you know, their game relies on, you know, nimbleness and ball handling and shooting, as opposed to getting like a Brittany Griner to back somebody down, because she ain't backing none of them big men down in the league. That just wouldn't happen. So I wouldn't mind seeing, you know, that. But the thing is, we have to be sensible when it comes to the dimensions of men and women as it pertains to physicality, man. You're not getting Brittany Griner, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she ain't going nowhere near the NBA doing shit with the likes of a DeMarcus Cousins, who's injury prone. It'd be a body bag. Just because men are naturally more physical than women, naturally. That is just in our genetic makeup. That's just what that is. It's a reason, even when you talk about combat sports, boxing in particular, that they box for, you know, less rounds, less minutes. There's a reason for that. It's a reason for that. For her to sit up here and say that she could deal with the likes of... Now, let's break down everything that we're talking about. Sergey Kovalev, at a point in time, was a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. He was the boogeyman of the light heavyweight division. Those are not little dudes. They bring light heavyweights to spar heavyweights. Those are not dudes that you... it's a few light heavyweights who could possibly fight at... Not possibly. Who can fight at cruiserweight and maybe even have a nice little run at heavyweight. What are you talking about? Sergey Kovalev has literally killed somebody in the ring before. Sergey Kovalev has stopped niggas with jabs to the... But I can't remember who else I saw do that, like, but it was years afterwards. But he killed, you know, he didn't kill him, but he stopped Cedric Agnew with a jab to the body. I don't think y'all understand how ridiculously insane it is to generate that much type of power and leverage on a shot, on a jab to the body. I watched him break the bridge of noses on motherfuckers. Like, nah, bro, no. No. Hell no. Clarissa Shields is getting put on her pockets by Hannah Gabriels. My baby, I love Hannah Gabriels. She's beautiful. But she was able to put Shorty on her pockets. Drop her. Drop her. But we're gonna sit here and talk about her as if she has what it takes to deal with the likes of bigger men. We're gonna go from largest to smallest. Largest to smallest. So you take Golovkin, because Golovkin is, you know, he's shorter and he fights at a smaller weight than Kovalev. Golovkin in his heyday was allegedly knocking around cruiserweights in sparring and allegedly crashed Kovalev in sparring. Like, Golovkin isn't a prolific defensive fighter. I don't even really see him. He's never in a position where he has to move, except with Canelo. That was the only time I think Canelo and Danny Jacobs forced him to somewhat of a defensive fighter, where he had to be a little bit more calculative how he came in and set shots up off of slipping and putting himself in position defensively to get the shot off. Yeah, I recall moving his head against Danny Jacobs and Canelo. But that's not who. That contradicts him as you know, his fighter's identity, because he's a dude who's walking forward and beating the shit out of you. And because of his timing and how hard he hits, you're gonna be apprehensive to let a shot go. I mean, you look at Kell Brook. Kell Brook fights in a smaller weight class than a Clarissa Shields, but he's far more physical and bigger than Clarissa Shields. And look what he was able to do to a Kell Brook. He detoured that man's career. Broke his face. Broke his face. Now you gotta think about it, man. Kell Brook was putting punches together on Gennady Golovkin. That's Clarissa Shields' bread and butter. She's beating you, she's outworking you. She flusters you because of her defensive prowess. What resistance are you going to be able to offer Golovkin to keep him honest? You can't keep that. Like, what do you know? No. I dare say Golovkin will probably be in the now. Golovkin would be the worst choice for you to fight. Because the more you hit him, the more he comes forward. Like, I can't understand. Like, I was on my Facebook group no, not group, but on my post, my coach actually tagged me in a video. I think dude's name is Marcus Now or something like that, man. He does, he has a really dope boxing analysis, and he used to box himself. And he broke it down. I didn't see the video, but it was his video that my coach tagged me in. And it was some girls from the gym who got mad. Maybe not mad, but they were, they felt like second-class citizens or whatever, because we're saying that women can't naturally more times than you what's the word? What's the phrase I'm looking for? On more than average occasions, women just can't physically deal with men. And they felt some type of way about that. And there was a feminist chick on there who was really feeling some type of way about that. And usually I believe in equal rights. I'm like, it's not necessarily us saying that you shouldn't be paid and compensated as much as men are because you're a woman. You shouldn't speak in a man's presence. You shouldn't teach over the likes of a man, over a man. Nobody is saying that. We're talking about physical combat. Physicality, you know what I'm saying? Strength, brute strength, going in there and beating somebody the fuck up. There's a reason when you go to the clubs, you see men as bouncers. You have a woman in there occasionally, but it's the men that are breaking up the scuffles. You dig me? It's a reason why men are the front line as far as the military branches and fighting for Uncle Sam. It's a reason for that. It's a certain presence that a man has that a woman doesn't have, and that's not saying it's females who bounce and everything, and it's females who can beat men. But on average, the man is going to be the one. Like, the man is a certain authority with men. Complete that. If you get into it with the lady, y'all barking back and forth, and she brings her stud homegirl or her sister or one of her relos or her girlfriend who's stepping in as a surrogate father for their child, a nigga gonna be like, man, man, shut up, bitch. Like, he gonna wild on her, because he should. And that's not saying that she wouldn't be able to deal with it, but it's just a certain level of respect that she won't be able to command out of that man. It's like, because you're trying to be me. You're trying to be me. And if I come over there and crash your ass, you gon', I'm still at risk of a lawsuit. I'm still at risk of fucking of charges being stacked against me because you're not a man. You're like, man, shut up, bitch. Go get a nigga. I've heard that plenty of times. Go get a nigga. Go get a man. You can dress however you want. You can dress like a man like you want to, but that don't make you one of us. Bitch, I'll knock your ass. That's gonna be the energy towards her. Now, if you bring a man, if a girl goes and gets her brother or her relos or her uncle or her baby daddy or her dude, fiance, husband, it's gonna command a different level of respect. If he's big, I'm 5'8", 200 something pounds. So if a nigga 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" come out, a nigga my height, it'll show how, like how much of a rider he is. Sometimes a nigga a coward. Or a nigga be like, man, I don't give a fuck how big you is, you bitch ass nigga. I'll beat your ass, nigga. Fuck out of here. What's happening then, nigga? Step in the street. Or it could be, nigga, alright, cool. I don't want to have to fight this nigga, but I ain't going out like no hoe, so it is what it is. What's good, nigga? I'll take that L. So just a different level of respect that is going to be commanded out of a man depending on the situation. You know what I'm saying? That's just the dynamics between the physicality of men and women. It's not to denigrate women, but you do have to be realistic as far as it pertains to the biological makeup of men and women. You have to be honest about that. Not without trying to push a feminist type of agenda or women's rights and all that shit. Like, no, it's not about that. It's not about that. And if we're talking equal rights, if a man puts his hands on a woman in a fight because she popping off, if a man says some slick shit to another man, we would be like, hey, You should have watched your mouth, right? So if a woman is popping off to a man, is he at liberty to go across her jaw justifiably because she was popping off? It's a power in words. You know, we got to think about that shit. So now, that's Golovkin, or that's Kovalev, they got Golovkin. Next we come to Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, people just really get it fucked up. She said on boxing skill alone, she thinks she will be able to beat Porter and Keith Thurman. The thing is, Thurman in this division, as a welterweight, there's only one, maybe you can argue two fighters in that division that can match him skill for skill. The other one, clear as day, is Bud. The only other boxer at welterweight that can match him skill for skill is Bud. And Bud is a little bit better than Thurman, skill-wise. You dig what I'm saying? Like, this is a former unified world champion. Thurman's biggest issue is he's just felt he's arrived, you dig? So because of that, it's allowing him, you know, his stock is plummeting because he thinks he's a lot more bigger than what he is since he's fought Manny. So that's his only problem, and the hand injuries, of course. But people have completely forgotten about Thurman as if he's just some scrub ass nigga, and he's not. Like, he's just not a value name in the division. No, that's not the case. And niggas just really getting it fucked up like Keith Thurman ain't get busy, man. Keith Thurman can fight from all three distances. He has beautiful lateral movement, incredible counter punching, incredible hand speed, incredible combination punching. His IQ is high. He makes adjustments on the fly. What the fuck are we talking about here? What are we talking about? You're not about to sit here and tell me Keith Thurman is like he's a boxer that's void of skill. No. Hell no. This dude just dropped and beat some really good fighters. Skill for skill, Clarissa Shields is not better than Keith Thurman. She's honestly not. You can say she's better than a Gennady Golovkin because Thurman is a better, is a more well-rounded fighter than Golovkin and than Sergey Kovalev. So I wouldn't even be mad at her saying that from a skill set standpoint, she's better than them. I wouldn't be mad at that. But Keith Thurman, of all the cats that she named, he's the most skilled. Like, well, this shit is just, it's baffling to sit here and listen to Shorty talk. It's baffling. You gonna beat Keith Thurman? Because you think he's just void of skill like that? Like, what are we talking about here? I do not think so. I do not think so. I do not think so. And that finally brings us to Shawn Porter. Now, Shawn Porter is a dude, like, Shawn Porter is from, as far as skill is concerned, it's a great area with Shawn Porter because now, granted, he's not as skilled as the likes of a Keith Thurman or even a Clarissa Shields. He's still a highly skilled boxer, though. And people just think it's all brawling. He's just all... They did the same thing with Mike Tyson. There's people who to this day argue that Mike Tyson was just a straight brawler. But they'll completely take away the nuances that put him in a position where he could brawl. They take away the foot speed and the head movement to put him inside, to position himself right in your chest to where your punches, you can't get enough leverage on the shot because you have the longer length, you have the longer arms. So you may not necessarily be in proper punching position to get proper leverage on the shot. They are, because they're the shorter fighters. They're the more compact fighters. They said the same with Tyson. All they saw was that speaks to their skill set. All they see to the naked eye, all they see is somebody just marching forward. They don't see the immaculate defense. They don't see the IQ being put on display to come in and low to neutralize somebody's jab. They don't see that shit. They don't see the head movement. They don't see you slipping the straights and weaving around. They don't see the angles. They don't see the footwork to put you on side of something. Damn. They don't see the footwork and the angles to put you on, you know, on side of somebody to force your opponent to reset. They don't see the footwork to put you in position where they are in your chest. That's what Shawn Porter brings to the table. Pure aggression. Pure aggression. Pure aggression. To put you in position to do what it is that you got to do. Do you think Clarissa Shields could deal with the physicality of a Shawn Porter? 3-minute rounds. No. Hell no. She can't. She can't deal with the likes of a Shawn Porter. This is the same Shawn Porter that beat Alexander Usyk. The same Usyk that dethroned Anthony Joshua 2 weeks ago. Dethroned him. Gave him a boxing lesson. Shawn Porter beat him in the amateurs. Shawn Porter beat Demetrius Andrade. Do you think they will bring Clarissa Shields in for full contact sparring with these dudes? You got to fight to get ready for it. So yeah, we going hard in camp. We going 15. We going 20 rounds. Tim Bradley used to go like what 4-minute rounds. I want to say 30-second rest periods and like 15, 16 rounds or some wild shit like that. You think they would bring Clarissa Shields in for hard sparring with any of them cats? Oh. The dimensions between man and woman are still there, despite the level of skill. And it's really dishonest and disingenuous to ignore those dimensions. As skilled as Clarissa Shields is, she's not doing nothing with none of them dudes mentioned. And even with that being said and done, for her to say that she could beat them, she would have to say that she could beat the dudes that they have beat. So she beat a Uga, she beat a motherfucking Adrian Granado, she beat Andre Berto, she beat Danny Garcia, she beat Julio Diaz, Jesus Soto Carras. Like, come on, man. She beat Danny Jacobs. Like, we gotta. She beat Sergey Derevianchenko. She'd be able to sit in the pocket with Canelo Alvarez. She beat John Pascal. I'm not saying women women just automatically can't beat a man. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's no woman on earth who can't beat a man. One of the baddest chicks in the city is from my hood. She's a pro. She fights as well. She fights in the little circuits up here in the city. And you know, she just, when I went to Miami, we was actually on the plane together. We both went to Miami. I flew into Orlando. She flew into Miami. She had a fight down there, but we drove into Miami later on that night. She has she's solidified. Her rep is solidified up here in the streets, but she's crashed niggas. So I'm not saying that women can't beat men, but the dimensions and physicality between men and women are there. They're there, and they must be respected. They must be respected. And Wolf, you know, before we even get to Wolf, this is that Ronda Rousey shit that Clarissa Shields is on. I can beat Floyd Mayweather. I can beat Floyd. I can beat Floyd. Yeah, all I have to do is just shoot at his legs and yada, yada, yada. Shot at Holly Holmes' legs. He was able to get her down, but she was able to wiggle out of it. You shot at Amanda Nunes' legs. You couldn't pin her to the ground. You would have shot at Floyd Mayweather's legs. You don't think that man has the strength to get you the fuck up off of him? The same Floyd Mayweather that was able to halt a Canelo Alvarez? We gotta stop. gotta stop. Dana White was also pushing that. Yeah, so Ronda Rousey could beat. She could beat, man. She could beat, man. And there was this dude who fights I cannot find this clip anywhere. But it was a dude who fought. I don't know if he's still active, but he fought in smaller weight classes than Ronda Rousey. He fought in smaller weight classes, and you can tell when asked about it, he had conversation. He felt some type of way about it because he's like, he's shorter, he's smaller than everybody. So, naturally people already underestimate him. And now on top of me, you underestimate me with other men, you gonna underestimate me with a woman. He's had this, you can tell the expression that he gave. He's had this conversation with other men or just in his close, tight-knit circle. And he didn't want to come off as demonstrative or chauvinistic as it pertains to women in the sport. Because he had this energy like he was looking down, like, should I even say this? I don't want to possibly ruin my career. But fuck it, I'm going for it. And he finally came out of his shell, was like, look, you're not beating me. You know what I'm saying? I can throw on a little karate gi and we can get on the mat and roll around. You're not fucking with me, pretty much. You can't fuck with me. Don't talk that judo shit to me. And nah. It's still a size disparity. I mean, it's a disparity in strength between men and women. That must be respected. And she's on that Ronda Rousey bullshit. And even Ann Wolf, the beast that is Ann Wolf. When Ann Wolf comes out here and says, man, she even said that Floyd would kill that girl. Like, y'all better get out y'all shit. Like, listen, man, it is still you cannot ignore the dimension between man and woman. You can't. The amount of force you would have to, or the amount of power you would have to generate to real life off a man's head, you'd have to be able to garner that type of power with every shot you threw with the man, because you're gonna have to find a way to keep this man honest. It's different from hitting a woman who's just a little bit more delicate in nature, biologically, naturally. You can't ignore that. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. That's just a fact that can't be ignored and glossed over. You have to be able to hit somebody with enough a man with enough force to get him to respect you, so you can even put yourself in position on winning the fight. You dig me? You can't sit here and talk this, I think I can beat so-and-so and so. No, you can't. She can't. Clarissa Shields will go in there and get her ass beat by any of the fighters that she mentioned. And if you don't believe it, set up, all right, cool. You want to talk that shit? All right, bet. Let's set up a celebrity boxing match. That's something that I would like to see. Let's put this theory to the test. Lace up. Lace up. She can't do nothing with them niggas. And that's not to disparage her. Why? Because most dudes can't do nothing with them dudes. This isn't about women's rights and equal rights, equality and all that shit. It's not. This isn't the feminist movement. This isn't women's suffrage. This isn't none of that. This isn't none of that. We're talking combat. Physical specimen between physical specimen. Who's the more physical specimen? It's just in our anatomy, the way, the way our muscles are built. I don't even know how to put it in the proper context, so I won't even try to break it down. But scientists have broke down how men's anatomy puts them in I don't want to say superior. I don't like saying that, but more so in a position of where physically, in most cases, we come out victorious. And that's being ignored. Because people want to push this goofy shit. People want to push this goofy shit. because you don't want to come off as chauvinistic. I've had so many conversations with women about this situation because they feel as if, oh, well, I'm a woman, anything a man can do, I can do. That's true. Anything a man can do, a woman can do. But anything a woman can do, a man can't do. You dig what I'm saying? And another thing I said to Shorty was, man, women have to be protected. You know what I'm saying? If a woman gets hurt too much, that's one less vessel on this planet that can bring life into this, that can pass life into this planet. Yeah, I mean, shit. There's women who still, you know, have 12 kids. Billions of women. One woman is able to, you know, produce 12 kids or whatever. And that's just something, that's just in the now. There's women who come from, you know, from a mother with 15 and 16, you know, 15, 16 brothers and sisters. I have 3. My wife, she bore me 3. My mom has 5. Dig? So women have to be protected. Women have to be protected. Dig? You can't sustain all them shots to the body. And no, that's one less vessel that, and we need you to keep this circle of life afloat. And there's women who get offended by that. They're like, oh, you're just relegating us to just being birthers. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm telling you, your importance to humanity, your contribution to humanity is far too important for you to disregard it because you want to be bullheaded and say anything a man can do, I can do. Which is true. Anything a man can do, you can do. Maybe not on the level in which they do it, but you can most definitely do anything a man can do. You can play basketball, you can fight. There's even women football leagues. You can do all that. Just not to the level of which a man can do it. It's men who are, oh man, you know, they're going through sex changes so they can play and be able to compete at a reasonably high level in women's sports. Fallon Fox, that's another one, man. Now granted, he lost one fight. He lost. And I haven't done, like, from what I saw, it looked like he was just kind of brutalizing women, using his strength to his advantage. And the woman who beat him went in there with technique, and she was able to edge out the bigger. You can put yourself in a mental position where it's like, alright, yo, like, my mental fortitude is not gonna allow me to lose. And it was something on, I don't know what it was on the line that she was really trying to obtain that really brought the extra fight out of her to get him about the paint. But he lost to her. And they love bringing that up. Like, well, he's lost before. Yeah, he lost once. But what happened to the other girls that, he was cracking other girls' skulls? Are we just gonna ignore that? It's a Marine who just underwent a sex change and said, I want to be a male fucking Marine. Climbed in the octagon and battered this woman. You can take all them testosterone blockers all you want to, man, and let some niggas snip you and dig all up in you. You still possess the physicality of a man, naturally. That can't be ignored. That cannot be ignored, and y'all are doing yourselves a disservice for ignoring them. We getting real fucked up in this world, man. Like, it's ridiculous. We're getting real fucked. We in a fucked up position where it's as if men are no longer needed. You dig? Like, even, chicks nowadays, it's chicks walk on, man. They'll acquire a girlfriend, but the girlfriend will be, she'll be butch. It'll be a butch. She carries the persona of a man. She dresses like a man. Her hair is like a man, but she's not a man. And they'll really be, this is my baby daddy right here. I'm the baby's daddy. And I'm like, how? You don't have the what they call that? You don't have the oh fuck, why is it eluding me now? You don't have the tools to make that happen. You don't have the tools to make that baby. You do, but not in the manner that in which you're saying that you are. No, you don't have. No, you don't possess those tools. You don't possess the tools to shoot out a baby in a liquid form and plant it in a woman. You don't possess that. How are you the baby's daddy? You dig? Or it's like, you know, it's kind of as if, you know, men are being replaced. The importance of men are being replaced. The importance of masculinity is being replaced. You can't replace that. You can't replace that. So, all in all, Clarissa Shields ain't doing shit with no motherfucking Kovalev, Golovkin, Thurman, or Porter. It's just not happening. Set up a celebrity boxing match and line it up if you believe it to be so. Somebody like that. Oh, okay. Set it up so the world can see. I'm not saying that she can't beat no man. I would never say that. But those men, world champions and former world champions, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Chill the fuck out, Clarissa, because you burnt the fuck out. Doses.